Hello and welcome to Manila Storytellers. I am your host, Beacon Happy. This pandemic has not been good to our friends in the entertainment business. In particular, a lot of actors and actresses face the scepter of not getting any work until the situation normalizes, and God knows when that's going to happen. But for powerhouse actress Angeli Bayani, she's found her second wind during this pandemic doing what she does best acting and teaching. Let's listen to what she has to say. Hi Angeli, kamusta na?
Hi, okay naman. Thank you. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. So, what's been keeping you busy during this God knows how many months of quarantine we've been undergoing?
Well, a lot. Actually, surprisingly, the, mas busy ako ngayong pandemic kesa before. I don't know if you experienced that, but yun yung discovery ko, surprisingly. We've been homeschooling, my son and I, we've been homeschooling, and I also started teaching acting online. So there's that.
Okay, let's latch on to that for a little bit. So, how did you how did you come up with this online acting classes?
Well, it's crazy, but sometime during early ECQ, maybe a couple or three people were telling me na, hey, why don't you try doing something online? And syempre, at the time, I was a little more concerned about the coronavirus than doing anything else. So alam mo yun, it took a while for that idea to sink in. And at first, it didn't come to me right away. When they told me to try something online, my first, the first few ideas that came to my head was katulad ng ginagawa ng mga artista na documenting everything they do in everyday life. I mean, I don't know if my life is interesting enough in that way. Kasi nga, I'm just, you know, homeschooling and I'm just doing everyday household stuff. So it didn't come to me right away until somebody asked me, hey, you're an actress, right? I have a few friends, they're in sales. Do you mind teaching them some stuff about acting? And then at first I was, and my head wasn't there yet. But I just told this person, I'm going to give it some thought. I don't know how to do it, but I'll get back to you. And then that's where it started. I found myself creating a syllabus, not for those people in sales that she mentioned, but for an actual online acting class. So there, that's how it started. And then I figured, balikan ko kaya yung idea na yun of teaching this group of people in sales nga na what would their syllabus be like, as compared to uh, practitioners in the craft. So I'm still working on that actually. I'm trying to come up with something na for non-actors. But since nabuo ko na yung for practitioners or for beginners or people who, I get a lot of students who have no acting experience, and it's like they just found my ad on Facebook or Instagram or something, and then they would message me like, "Thank you for this class. It's been my lifelong dream. I've never had a chance to do it, and now that you know, it's quarantine, and maybe this is my chance." I get a lot of students coming from that. So it's a healthy mix actually of total beginners and people who are just starting out in the business and people who have been in the industry for some time. And I like that mix because it's like Aikido. Aikido. No, I mean, my boyfriend took Aikido and he would tell me that the yellow belts would be in the same class with the black belts. And I thought that was so interesting. Na there are beginners and there are black belters in the same class. And it just made complete sense to me that they would be in the same class because of course maybe the black belters would be inspired by the yellow belters or and vice versa. So in effect, they are helping each other. They are lifting each other up. So in my class, there are no beginners. There are no advanced actors. They're just actors.
Just to be clear, this acting classes that you are offering is not in conjunction with any group or any organization. This is purely your effort and your initiative.
Yes, it is. But I did have some help with a few filmmakers.
I
They're
saw.
from the North Luzon Cinema Guild.
Mm.
Yeah. They came in because one of them is a friend of mine, actually. And they came in kasi pinakita ko sa kanya yung art cards na ginawa ko. I just wanted, somebody's opinion. Hey, can you take a look at this? And then he said, you know what? We're gonna do this. We're gonna help you out. So they took care of everything on that end. They made my art cards. They somehow managed to unearth all these photos of me on the internet and made several publicity materials out of it. So they're my team, the North Luzon
Mm.
Cinema Guild. Yeah, so I'm really thankful for that. They just decided to help me. But it's I mean they're my team, but I don't represent them and they don't represent me either. So, it's just a bunch of friends helping each other out.
Ever since you started this classes, how many classes have you staged already? And more or less, how many people have you workshop?
Well, I'm just on the second, actually, the second batch. Yung first batch, I had about 34 students, and I
Wow!
really did not expect that.
Wow!
Yes, I really did not expect
Wow!
that. Kasi
Okay.
in an
Ang galing,
in an
galing!
in-person workshop,
Okay.
I know. It's amazing. But it's probably also because I had help. I did have a lot of help actually in the first batch, and I'm hoping to be able to repeat it to second batch because in the first batch, I not only had these guys from the North Luzon Cinema Guild, I also had friends, my filmmaker friends, who helped me direct my students for their culminating activities. So these kids had the chance, beginner or not, to be directed by professional filmmakers. So I think that's amazing. I mean, nothing short of a miracle. Now I got these guys to do it for me, for my students. So I had help from them, and I also had a lot of help from fellow actors who shared their experience because that's the kind of the format that we came up with for my class, that it wouldn't just be me teaching. I mean, it would be me teaching the lessons, and then there would be these guys, these actors, um, who would come in and share their input as well. For example, the topic is script analysis. So I had Miss Irma Adlawan, no less, to share with my class, with my students, how she does script analysis.
How many sessions, for example, per batch, how many classes do you stage?
Well, I always put down that there are 10 sessions, but since my classes are split into 10 and 3,
Mm.
I'm doing about 20 sessions. And then there's more now. Oh, I didn't mention in the second batch, hiniwalay ko na yung sessions with we call them the guest mentors, these actors now who come
Okay.
in to share their experience. So hiniwalay ko na because I wanted to give them more time and also myself more time, And kasi dati, in the first batch, magkasama siya. Magkasama yung session ko and the sessions with the guest mentors. And we would end up uh, going for about 5 hours. And
Oh my
kawawa ako.
God!
And kawawa rin yung mga students kasi gutom na gutom talaga kami. We would really have our food beside us. As in, sumusubo ako ng breakfast or ng lunch or whatever it is I'm having at the moment. And nakikita ko rin yung mga students eating and I don't mind.
Mm.
Kasi another thing then that I realized about teaching acting online is that you cannot be as strict as you would be in an in-person acting class. But I decided for the second batch, hindi ko na uulitin yun kasi kawawa kami. So, hiniwalay ko na yung mga sessions with the guest mentors. So, probably if I add that all up, I'm gonna have 20. maybe 4 or 5 sessions, you know, nakasama na dun yung guest mentors. And then, of course, that's not including the rehearsals because I have to sit sa rehearsals ng lahat, you know. Kasi nga ako yung nag-edit. So, I have to record via Zoom yung ano nila, yung rehearsals nila so that when they want to come back to it, there's a recording. And most of the time, yun na rin yung ginagamit for ano. I mean, if it's a good take, yun na rin yung ginagamit for the culminating activity. So, I don't know. If you ask me how many talaga, I really have no idea.
Okay
Basta
lang.
ang nakalagay, 10 sessions.
10 sessions. Quote unquote.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sure shifting to an online platform for acting classes must have had so many challenges. I mean, I would think that a workshop such as acting or performance in general would benefit more from a face-to-face type of experience. And yet you're telling me na you're having such a positive experience teaching this online. Oh, may pagbabago ba? What's the biggest difference with
Yep.
teaching this type of class online as opposed to face to face?
I find that ako personally, I am more relaxed when I am teaching online. And when I'm relaxed, the students are relaxed, you know, by default. So, kasi pag in person, there's always this, at least for me, no, there's always this, you have face that you have to put up na, okay, I'm your teacher for today, you know, I know something you don't. I need you give me your respect right now. Turn off all your, your devices and all that, you know.
Mm.
Pero, alam mo yun, and sometimes you do have to do in an in-person class, lalo na when those kids have their managers or their handlers with me because there's always someone observing, you know. And sometimes iniisip ko, am I trying to impress the handler or the manager? Di ba? Ba't ba ako ganito? I mean, most of the time, I don't care naman. Pero syempre, nandiyan yung presence ng ibang tao. You know what I mean? Na who's probably going to give feedback to the agency or to the actual manager na, si Angeli ganito pala magturo, ganyan, ganyan, ganyan. They will either give, and I mean, you know what I mean? This is a non-practitioner observing your class.
Mm.
I-assume na natin na wala siyang alam sa acting. And probably, kung ano yung alam niya sa acting, it's not what is really going on.
Mm.
Right?
Right.
And with this concept he or she has of what acting is or should be, he will judge my workshop. Right? So there's that. Alam mo yun, yung they will either say it's amazing or it's I mean, what was that? Diba?
Mm.
I mean, there's always that there. You know, there's always someone who is not going to understand what you're doing. And you will never have the opportunity to explain. Not that I want to explain.
Mm.
Diba? Kasi it will make sense to actors. It will make sense to directors. It won't make sense to you. Kaso ikaw yung magkakwento sa manager nung nakita mo You know, that kind of thing. So wala yung pressure na yun. So I'm more relaxed online. I only have to, the only thing that I have to worry about is internet connection.
Well,
Kasi
problema yun
minsan bigla na lang akong nawawala or some of my students bigla na lang. Diba?
Diba?
So yeah, that's all I have to worry about, the internet connection. The exercises kasi, here's the thing. The reality is, naka-quarantine pa rin tayo. May pandemya pa rin. Wala pa rin mag-theater. Wala pa rin magle-live. Right?
Right.
So everything is on cam. So my classes are suited for an on-cam experience, you know?
Mm.
In fact, mas kita ko nga You know? Kasi right now, kitang-kita mo yung mukha ko, di ba?
Oh,
So,
yes.
ganun din sa kanila. Kitang-kita ko yung mukha nila. Every little thing that they do. And even if naka-mute sila, I can tell na they're nagbubuntong hining na sila or they're bored. I can tell. You know? So, and it's so much easier pa nga kasi parang, yun na nga, in person din, kung may nag-observe sa akin, meron din nag-observe sa kanila, and they're just trying to do their best all the time. Nothing wrong with that. That's exactly what we want. You do your best, right?
Right.
But we also want them to be honest and truthful. If someone is watching, it's gonna be a bit hard for these kids to be honest and truthful. Because Mr. or Miss Handler is also gonna make sumbong to the manager now, No, these online classes, they're there. Whoever they are, what you see is what you get.
Okay.
Because they're the comfort of their home. There's no need for them to put on masks or anything. No one else that they have to impress.
You're very fortunate that you were able to latch on to this while so many of our friends are struggling to get by because there are no more opportunities during this pandemic. I mean, buti ka pa nakahanap ka ng something
Right.
to provide for yourself during the middle of this quarantine period.
Yeah, that's true. To be honest, those people who kept goading me into doing something online, at first kasi kaya ako nag-resist, it was, I was afraid. Sa totoo lang. I wasn't afraid that I couldn't do it. No, I was afraid that I would be criticized. Alam mo naman ang mga friends natin sa theater. So, I was actually afraid that they would criticize me. But then, of course, at the end of the day, two things won out there. It was the fact that you need money, and I need to feed my kids.
Yes.
Yun yung probably
Yes.
unang-una,
Mhm.
di ba? I mean, prangkahan na, Diyos ko. And the second was, eto is gonna sound, but there's just so much in me. I have to share it. I think it's my responsibility to share whatever I have, and whoever I attract, they're the ones who are meant to be in my class. You know what I mean? Because in my team, when they saw the turnout sa batch one that I had 34 students, they wanted so much to repeat it for the second batch. But I was more like, you know what? It's no big deal. Whoever those 34 kids were who signed up for the first batch, they were the ones who needed it at the moment.
Okay.
And whoever these kids are who are in the second batch, even if they are not 34, they're the ones who need it now. And I also tell them, these kids, maybe you're not even here for me. Maybe you're here to meet someone else in the class. Or maybe you're supposed to meet one of the filmmakers. I don't know. Maybe it's not even about me. So it doesn't matter how many students I get now, kasi parang ng akin, these are the ones who are meant to be here. So they need what I have. So yun talaga, it just inspires me to be better, as a teacher, and um not just to teach stuff na ito kasi yung turo sa akin, so ulitin ko na lang. Hindi ganun eh. Sabihin na natin, I can't think of the word right now, pero I have a brand. Yun na lang. I don't know what the right word is.
No, tama yung, you've used the right word.
Brand.
Brand.
Kasi ito rin yung naisip ko. Yung mga humihingi dati ng in-person workshops, every one of them would say, we want them, sana makuha nila yung acting style mo, Miss Ange. Ganun. And to be honest, hindi ko lang talaga masabi sa kanila na that's impossible. You can't get my acting style, even if I'm the teacher. Because that's me. These kids are coming from somewhere else. They're from a different sociological background and everything, di ba? We will just never have the same experience. And therefore, they will be creative in a different way, in their own unique way. So, hindi naman I know it probably sounds selfish, but my acting style is mine. Hindi sa gusto ko siyang, I mean, you know what I mean, right? It's not something you can teach. Yeah?
Yeah.
And that's been the focus of my classes. That's been the focus of my class. It's not if you are here because napanood mo ko somewhere or I don't know, hindi mo hindi mo kung yun ang objective mo na makuha yung acting style ko, hindi yun mangyayari kasi my syllabus has been designed to bring your creativity, your unique creativity out of you. Yung kung ano yung sayo, yun yung ilalabas natin and not anyone else's.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that a lot of these kids, though, that the reason that they signed up for your class is because they've seen how good an actress you are. I mean, I mean, literally over the past how many years?
I don't know.
How many awards have you won? I mean, how recognized are you at this point in
I
time?
don't know.
Why am I not surprised with that answer?
What I do enjoy about being where I am right now in the industry is that I don't have to introduce myself so much anymore. You know, I don't have to prove myself so much anymore. I think it's more of that. I don't have to prove myself so much anymore. After a while, especially when you reach a certain age and you've been doing this for some time, if you have to do that day in and day out, it's like, ano ba? Tsaka nakakatuwa kasi hindi ko na, I mean, when I was doing the first batch and I was rounding up all my filmmaker friends to direct my students, I was driven, first of all, by I need someone to direct my kids. Yun lang. Pero after a while, nandun ako sa rehearsals, oh my God, nakuha ko lahat ng taong to. And they all have names. Yun, sikat sila. Bigating sila. At nakuha ko sila ng ganun-ganun na lang na what I'm enjoying is not really fame, but a good reputation. Yeah. So I have a good enough reputation that I am able to do this and get round up all these people, you know, just for the craft, you know. Kasi they also love doing this. Kasi that's also the thing na I mentioned na the students that I attract are the ones who are meant to be there. Same for the filmmakers and same for the guest mentors. Whoever says yes to me, they're the ones who are meant to be there.
Okay, I mean, with everything that you've achieved and everything that you're going to achieve did you ever imagine that when 20 years ago, when you were still, 20, 25 years ago, when you were still starting out as doing theater in UP Diliman, did you ever imagine that you would reach this level?
No, of course not.
But did you dream
Never.
about it?
Yeah, I did, of course. In fact, ang hindi ko nga makakalimutan yung yung after rehearsals, tapos wala ng jeep ng UP, maglalakad na lang papuntang Philcoa, di ba? Tapos walang pambili ng kape, walang pambili ng yosi, mag-share pa tayo sa isang stick ng yosi at sa isang tasa ng kape. Tapos kasama ko si Nick Ulangan nun eh. Nakaupo kami sa steps sa Philcoa. And then somebody said, it's a blue moon tonight. Tapos ang sabi nila, kailangan yung mag-wish ngayon kasi blue moon. And I don't know what was going on that day. Pero kami talaga ni Nick, sabi ko, Nick, ikaw muna. So nag-wish si Nick. Ganyan na, yun na, gusto niya maging filmmaker, maging director. Ganyan. Tapos ako naman, sineryoso ko talaga, yung blue moon na yan. Sabi ko, gusto kong bilang mahusay na artista. Hindi ko kailangan, I remember saying that talaga, hindi ko kailangan yung celebrity levels. Gusto ko lang makilala ako bilang isang mahusay na artista. Masaya na ako sa ganun. Yun, that's what I said. So, you know, I mean, I think naman, nagkatotoo siya kahit paano.
I think nagkatotoo siya, period.
Had I known na magkakatotoo siya, alam mo yung on hindsight, sana pala nag-wish ako ng marami rin akong pera. Yayaman din ako. Magkakatotoo pala siya, sana tinodo ko na. I'm just thankful na my son and I, and my boyfriend, we live together and we don't go hungry, you know? And I think that's all that matters. We have a roof over our heads, we have food to eat, clothes on our back. And diba? Hindi ba yun naman yung mahalaga? Tsaka masaya tayo. Yeah.
I don't know if you remember this, but we had a conversation. we had a
Well,
conversation, I'm going to say around around 2006. I think we had this conversation while shooting Nick's first film when we were hanging out at Gapas.
uh-huh.
And then you told
Okay, oh
me,
my God.
okay, you told me that you knew that you were fated to be a very good actress. Now, I don't know whether that was one of the
Oh my
time.
God.
I don't know how many, because God knows how many beers we had at the time. If it was the beer talking or the bravado or whatever. But what struck me at that point was how confident you were and how sure you were that you were going to make it.
Mm-hmm.
And look at us now.
Wow. Thank you for reminding me of that. I don't remember saying that.
How could you remember
But you
that?
know, I
We
think
were
it's a
roaring drunk
combination.
at 5 in the afternoon habang nasa shoot.
Wow, okay.
Parang gago eh.
You know, there are a lot of things that happened back then. Lalo na yung around that time. And also in that area. You know, I think that place is magical eh. So, totoo lang. May mga salita akong binigkas sa tabi ng Manila Bay. Na nagkakatotoo. Alam mo yun? I know it sounds nuts, you know, but I'm that kind of person who believes in those kind of things, you know, and totoo siya eh. Diba? I mean, of course I didn't think it was gonna happen at the moment, but yeah. And then, meron nga akong isa pang sinabi, nagpaalala din sa akin yung isang friend ko. It was one of those moments na wala na kaming pangkain. Pamasahe na lang pa uwi. Gutom na kami, galing kaming rehearsals. Tapos we were sharing our money para makakain kami. And then, there were three of us eh. The two people who were with me, they were so discouraged na. And then, I don't know where I got the, enthusiasm. But I said, you know what, guys? Magaling tayo eh. Of course, hindi na to verbatim ah. Basta something to that effect. Magaling tayo eh. Someday, a few years from now, three young actors are going to be sitting in the exact place we are and talking about us in the same way that we are talking about these people, these veteran actors na hinahangaan natin. It's going to happen. So, of course, I don't know if that had happened, but I I'd like to believe it has and that it still does. You know,
Well, malay mo.
I mean,
Malay mo. Some of the people who showed up for your acting classes are in your acting classes because they've talked about you guys and they know about you guys, and that's why they want to be part of your experience, and that's why they're in your classes ngayon. It's precisely because they're talking about you. I'm sure you get asked this a lot. Eh. So, how did you end up where you're at right now? I mean, how did you land the films that put your name on the map? How did you work your way up the hierarchy? I'm sure you've gotten this question so many times.
yeah, and it always warrants a very long answer, but I'm going to
Okay
try
lang.
to. All right. So I started acting when I was in the UP Repertory Company, but I didn't really take it seriously because back then diba, we were always switching jobs. You know, I'd be an actress now, or next production I'm a stage manager. Diba? We switched jobs, so it wasn't something that I figured I'd be doing for the rest of my life. It was just something that we needed to do as a company, you know.
Yeah.
And then eventually I ended up sa theater arts program ng UP where I decided to be either a stage manager or a production manager. And that was my dream back then, to become a very successful stage manager or a production manager, because at the time I thought that was where the money was. And that was my primary motivation, because my mother was a teacher and she was having a really hard time making ends meet, and she was very, very disappointed that I gave up BS biology. I gave up being a doctor
Ay.
to become a theater arts student. You know, parang hindi naman sa I wanted to prove her wrong, you know. It was more like, I know you're disappointed, mom, but I'm just going to give back. Yun lang. Parang, and this is how I know how to do it. Parang ganon. So, from theater arts, it was supposed to be my last year sa UP. Gagraduate na dapat ako. Na MRR ako. Okay? Yung na maximum residency rule ako, that was the first time ipinataw yung MRR na yan, and nobody knew what it was. So when I was trying to enroll for my last year in the theater arts program, gagraduate na dapat ako. Hindi ako nakapag-enroll. Kasi MR na ako. Hindi ako binigyan ng RegMat. And inappeal ko siya. This is a funny story. Inappeal ko siya sa college sec ng Cal. Tapos ito talaga, ikukwento ko talaga ito. Wala akong pakialam. The guy before me was someone I knew. Okay? Someone I knew. And sorry, syempre hindi naman tayo nag-name names, no? Alam ko kung ano siya, kung sino siya. Alam kong addict siya. Alam kong hindi siya pumapasok. Okay? At alam ko, sorry politically incorrect talaga ako. Sorry.
Okay.
Sabi ko kasi, kilala ko siya. Pag hindi pumapasok yun, minsan nga kasama ko parang hindi ka pumapasok. Hindi, natamad. Alam mo yun? Anyway, habang kinakwento niya sa akin na kailangan ko na mag-appeal, churut-churut, whatever. Sa utak ko talaga, sira ulo ka pala eh. Ilang taon mo nang ginagawa yan, sa tingin mo, i-approve yung appeal mo. Ganyan. So, ito yung nakakatawa. Pasok siya sa office. He wasn't even there 30 minutes. Paglabas niya, tuwang-tuwa siya, pinirmahan yung appeal niya, in-approve. So, pinasa ko lahat ng papers, may appeal, napirmado na lahat ng prof, ganyan. Walang problema. Kompleto ako. Sabi nitong taong to, hindi ako naniniwalang pinirmahan to ng mga prof mo. Sabi ko, bakit? Di ba? Ayun po yung mga pirma nila, kompleto po. Lahat po sila. Ayun na, hindi ako naniniwala. Sabi. So, syempre ako, bakit? Bakit po? Kasi daw, ang pangit daw ng record ko. Sabi niya. Kaya hindi siya naniniwalang pinirmahan nila yung appeal ko. Gusto ko sabihin, grabe, ganun ba kapangit? Parang may mga line of 1 naman ako. Oo, nagkaroon ako ng 5, pero yun yung nasa biology pa ako. Alam mo yun, yung parang hindi ko alam kung saan galing yung emotion, pero parang may sumutok sa dibdib ko kasi parang hindi ako makapaniwala na ganun-ganun na lang i-deny yung appeal ko. Samantalo yung nauna sa akin, nakitang-kita namang gagot kalahati. Alam mo yun, yung pinirmahan niya kasi gwapo. Alam mo yun, tapos ang inisip ko rin, ano sasabihin ko pag uwi ko? So, disappointed na nga yung nanay ko. I swear, hindi ko alam kung saan galing emotion, pero hindi nag-well up yung tears in my eyes. Hindi gano'n. Hindi siya mabagal. Bumuhos talaga siya. Ganong iyak. Nakakatawa. Tapos ganito lang siya habang umiyak ako. Tapos ako, ang sakit kasi parang galit na galit ako. Actually, galit na galit ako na I cannot believe my appeal was denied. And then, yung funny lang, tapos na ako umiyak. Sabi ko pa rin sa kanya, hindi talaga. Hindi talaga. Hindi mo pipirmahan yan. Gumano na ako. Sabi niya, hindi. Okay, sige. Yun. Gumano lang, umalis na lang ako. And then, I didn't know where to go. Nung time na yun, merong Old Manila pa sa bahay ng alumni. Yes. Pumunta ako doon because I didn't know where else to go. Nakita ko doon yung prof ko, sumalangit nawa, si Professor Ogie Juliano. And then sabi ko, Sir Oj, I don't know what the fuck to do. Okay, ito na yun hindi ko alam. Anong gagawin ko? Hindi ko alam. And then he told me, why don't you go and get professional theater credits outside? And then i-gather mo lang yun and then come back. Tapos, yun. Pag nagpakita ka ng professional theater credits, maniniwala na sila na you're serious about the theater arts program. They will let you enroll. And I didn't know many theater groups at the time. Ang alam ko lang ay PETA. I found out na si Laverne ay nagtatrabaho as production manager sa Tanghalang Pilipino. I cannot remember how I found out. I called Tanghalang Pilipino and I asked for him. Laverne, si Angeli. Kailangan nyo ba ng ATM, AS, kinuha. Gumanon na ako. Tapos sabi ni Laverne, hindi kasi sila nagtatanggap ng tagalabas. Unless OJT ka. Sabi ko, hindi ako OJT eh. Alam mo yun? So, in-explain ko kay Laverne, ito yung situation. Pero he couldn't do anything kasi hindi naman daw talaga naghahanap yung TP because they had a resident staff. So sabi ko, alright, thanks. So andun na ako. Lalakarin ko na ba ang PETA? Hahanapin ko na ba? And then, a few days later, tumawag si Laverne and told me na, eto kasi nakakaloka din kay Laverne, Sabi niya sa akin, Angeli, good news. May audition. May audition sa CCPs, may audition sa Tanghalan. Pumunta ka, ganyan. At dahil yung utak ko, nandun sa Getting Professional Theater Credits, sa ASM at APM, ang nasabi ko sa sarili ko, ang taray naman ng Tanghalan, pati yung staff, kailangan marunong umarte. May audition?
Okay.
Ang tanga, di ba? Yun yung naisip ko. So, anong time then, we just did Damas de Noche. So, I still remembered the monologue from that. Kasi kailangan mong prepare ng monologue eh. And then anyway, it was my turn. Ako yung monologue. Tapos na. Pauwi na ako. Hinabol ako nitong isang lalaki na singkit. Sabi sa akin, next week. Tapos pag prepare these 2 monologues, paki-memorize, ganyan. And he was so excited Sabi ko, The Seagull. The Seagull, Chekhov. Molière something. Ewan ko, di ko na maalala. Hindi nga ako umaarte, di ba? Ano to? Sabi ko, ano tong Molière? Yung ganun. Pero sabi ko, okay, nakakaloka naman itong Tanghalan. Sabi ko, magtitimpla lang naman ako ng kape, di ba? Okay, ganun ako. Ayun na. Tapos, bumalik ako. A week later, memorize ko, ganyan. Tapos, ang hirap ng second part ng audition this time kasi they kept asking me questions about my choices. Hindi nga ako umaarte, di ba? Sabi ko, anong choices? Ginawa ko lang to kasi ganito. Ito lang po yung, very ignorant sounding na ito po yung tingin ko, ito yung na-feel ko, etc. Ganyan. Kasi hindi ko magawa-gawa ng tama yung Molière, malamang, no? Kasi Molière yun. And then, eto na feeling ko yung yung aking pang Miss Universe na sagot, which got me into Tanghalan. Tinanong nila sa akin bakit The Seagull, yung title ng The Seagull. Okay. And I swear to God, I pulled this out of my ass. But sinabi ko talaga to with full conviction. Sabi ko, I read somewhere that since a seagull, sabi ko kasi a seagull is it's a bird that lives near water, right? I read somewhere that if you take away a seagull from any body of water, it will die of a broken heart. And then nakita ko yung tingin na ng panel, tingin na talaga sila ng gano'n! Yun yung parang nangyari sa seagull, di ba? Na, basta, hindi natin pag-usapan. Basta yun yung sagot ko, hindi ko makakalimutan yun. Hindi nila tinanong sa akin kung saan ko nakuha yung sagot na yun. At siguro mamaya isi-share ko sa'yo. Pero, yun yung nagtinginan talaga sila ng OMG, ganyan. Okay, di umuwi na ako. A few days later, I got a call, apparently from the guy na nagbigay nga sa akin ng monologue, and he was like, congratulations, you got in! Kasi hindi niya nga rin din sinabi kung ano yung napasukan ko, no? Kasi nga, ako naman, pagkarinig ko ng you got in, sabi ko, oh my God, thank you, may trabaho na ako. Yung alam mo yun, yung at least I have something to tell my mother. Diba? I have worked in a professional theater company. But then, ito lang yung sinabi na itong mama na to, no? Sabi niya, congratulations, you got in. Are you free tomorrow at 9 a.m.? Tapos pinapunta ako somewhere sa isang studio sa Makati. Pagdating ko doon, akala ko kung anong mangyayari, but it was an acting class. It was an improv class. na buong araw. Alam mo yun? Tapos ako talaga yung, sabi ko talaga, ano to? Tapos naghahanap ako ng staff. Walang staff. Alam mo yun, talagang ganun talaga ako yung, pero hindi ko pinahalata na, syempre, kasi pabibo ko eh. Di ba? Gusto ko ng trabaho eh. Gagalingan ko dito kahit hindi ko alam kung ano yung improve. Okay? Ganun. And then it just, parang, sige, after the end of the day, hilong-hilo ako sa nangyari, di ba? Sabi sa akin, okay, see you on Tuesday, 1 o'clock sa CCP na tayo. So ako naman, ay, salamat. Production work. Yan. Same thing. Pagpasok ko, it was a class for voice, for musical theater. So yung, okay. After voice for musical theater, it was a dance class, ballet. And then one day na I ran into this girl from DUP na siya na pala yung bagong stage manager ng Tanghalan. So sabi ko, uy, napagkaroon ako, uy, ano na ba? Ganun ako, bigyan mo ng trabaho, ano na, kailan magpa-prod meet? Kailan magpa-pre-prod? Tapos itong si girl, sabi niya, ha? Bakit? Bakit? Tapos ako, kasi nagpa-pre-prod na, di ba? Tawagin mo kaya ako para makaano na ako, makaupo na ako sa meeting. Tapos ganun siya, hindi, okay lang, hindi ka namin kailangan. O, di ba hindi malinaw? Di ba? Walang malinaw sa nangyari. And then finally, tumawag ako dun sa, sa intercom ng CCP. Nagpa-connect ako sa office ng Tanghalan. Can I talk to, to Herbigo? Gumano ako. I should have known that I was the Associate Artistic Director of Tanghalan Pilipino. But, I didn't realize it back then. Sabi ko lang, I just need to talk to Herbigo. Kaya. So, here we go. Yes, Angeli, what can I do for you? So I asked the same question. Kailan tayo magpi-pre-prod? Tapos ganun din siya. Magpi-pre-prod na. Bakit? Yung ganun, so, bakit hindi pa ako tinatawag for the meeting? Bakit ka namin tatawagin? Yung ganun, parang tayo yung sagutan. Until finally, yung sabi niya, bakit hindi ka ba pumapasok? Pumapasok! Araw-araw ako nandito. Gumanon ako talaga, hindi ko nga maintindihan bakit ako nandito eh. Gumanon ako, am I not supposed to be at the office with you? Nag-pre-prod na pala. Gumanon ako. And then we realized, Angeli, you got into the Tanghalan Filipino Actors Company. Magalo ko sa phone. Ano yun? Ano yun? Tapos sabi ko, ayokong maging actors company. Gumanon na lang ako. Tapos siya din parang may moment na tahimik. Tapos sabi niya, well, we don't want you as an ASM or APM. So, sa phone talaga, crew, ganun. Meron nagsasalita sa akin.
Oh my God.
Sabi ko, okay, sige, gumanon na lang ako. Let me think about this. Gumanon ako. Sabi ko, shit, gumanon talaga ako. And then, kinausap ko yung coordinator ng Tanghalan. And then I said, may sahod ba itong ginagawa natin? Sabi niya, syempre, dahil hindi ko alam, di ba? She looked at me funny. Sabi niya, wala. Scholar ka eh. Wala kang sahod. But then she said, but you get 50 pesos for coming on time. 50 pesos. Kailan ko makukuha yung 50 pesos? Ano yun? 6 days a week may 50 pesos ako. Sabi niya, hindi. 4 days a week. Kasi Tuesday to Friday lang ang klase. Hindi ko alam kung anong sasabihin ko sa nanay ko. Yung hindi pala trabaho yung pinasok ko. Wala pala akong kikitain talaga. Kasi pamasahe ko lang yun eh. Taga Fairview ako eh. CCP nasa Pasay eh, no? Yung ganun. And so it was another major decision, di ba? Na I was really, torn. Aalis na ako. Yung ganun, wala naman pala dito. Hahanapin ko na lang yung PETA or whatever theater company is available. Alam mo yun? Tapos na pag-alaman ko pa yung Bulwagang Gantimpala, malapit lang, nasa Luneta. Lakarin ko kaya yung ganun. Hindi ko alam yung gagawin ko, but I don't know, I think the decision I made was based on, I'm here now, I mean, sa lahat ng theater, tatlo lang naman na alam kong theater company. Tanghalang Pilipino, PETA, Buwagang Gantimpala. This is where I ended up. All right, let's see where this goes. Ganun na ako. So I stayed. Again, I was motivated by money. Pero the only way to get that sahod was to be good. Sabi ko, saan nakabase ang pagiging apprentice ko, ang pagiging member ko? Performance sa class. Alam mo yun talaga? Really? Kailangan, alam mo yun? And it took me the better part of the first year ng pagiging scholar ko to get it in my head. Kasi nga, nandun lang yung utak ko kung magkano yung kikitain ko. And Herbie, at first, nalaman ko na lang to eventually, I mean later on, nalaman ko na lang na he really, really wanted to have me sa Actors Company. He thought I was so good dun sa audition. He called me an exciting scholar. Alam mo yun, there's this exciting scholar. And when I started to behave poorly sa classes, I was not delivering. Kasi I didn't know what I was doing Alam mo yun, para sa akin malaking achievement na yung fact na nandito ako ng isang buong taon nang wala akong kasahod-sahod. Alam mo yun, tinitipid ko pa yung 250 per day. Tapos, nag-summer workshop, ganyan, so bakante kami. Somehow, during that, somewhere in between that first year and the second year, something happened and I don't really know what it was. Kasi pagbalik ko for my second year, Herbie was like, there's something different about you. Tapos ako naman, like what? Ganyan pa ako. Hindi ko alam. But apparently, I had done a complete 180. I was suddenly this generous actress. I was suddenly enjoying myself. I was doing well in class. I was having fun. I was generous. I don't know what happened, okay? Alam mo yun? And it started from there. And I made that decision a long time ago, diba, na I'm here for whatever reason. But this time I did it with a full heart. I'm here for whatever reason and I'm happy. I just discovered that I'm actually good at acting. Okay. I'm actually good at this. Diba? Parang ganon. And then I started to enjoy my time sa tanghalan. And then I spent 4 years there. And this is the part that I'm not going to go into much detail, but around this time, nagkaroon na ng Cinemalaya. And everyone in theater just wanted to have a crack at that. To be able to do an independent film kasi lahat ng artista ay taga-theater. Diba? Finally, we have a shot at making a film at hindi celebrities yung nandyan. Finally. Yun yung nasa utak namin lahat. I'm telling you, if anybody tells you otherwise, huwag ka maniniwala sa kanila. Everyone thought that nung first Cinemalaya. But then came the second year of Cinemalaya and what do you know? Siyempre, may mga napapalitan. Sino ba yan? Taga-teatro lang pala. Ito na lang, artista. Ganon. Okay. So, ayun. Ganun kaaga, second year pa lang na Cinemalaya at tinatanggal na yung mga theater actors who were instrumental in making Cinemalaya, the first Cinemalaya successful anyway, And pinapalitan na yung mga theater, pinapalitan na nga ng artista. And then itong si Nick Olangka nakapasok sa second year ng Cinemalaya. Of course, he wanted to get me. Diba? So, my name was on the list. Pinapatanggal daw ako. Tapos ang sabi ni Nick, I will forever be grateful to him for this. Sabi ni Nick, tanggalin nyo na pong lahat, wag lang siya.
Nox.
Yan. Okay.
Ganon!
Diba? Ganon kasi, diba? Dapat. So, yon. Therefore, nagkaroon ako ng pelikula. Okay? And this film, again, I did mention, I'm not gonna go into much detail, but nagkaroon ng friction sa amin, sa tanghalan, because of this film. And I did not understand. Kasi parang, I've been here 4 years. Do you not yet know me? do you not yet know na I have become a professional? Alam mo yun, that I am a person of my word. I'm good at this. I love this. I mean, where is this all coming from, you know?
Mm-mm.
And then I left. I left tanghalan. And then I started doing theater in other theater groups, with other theater groups. Pero unti-unti nang pumapasok yung mga indie. Until finally, hindi na ako nagte-theater, puro indie na lang. And then I guess dumating na yung major quote-unquote breakthrough in my career as a film actress. Kasi I had just finished doing this musical. And over the weekend, there was this filmmaker na hindi ko naman kilala personally, had been emailing me about an audition.
Okay.
Ang sabi ko, sa utak ko, hindi ko naman kilala to. Ano problema nito? Ayun. Saan niya nakuha yung email ko? Yung ganun. Yun. Di ako naman syempre polite. Thank you for the invitation. Shoot, but I don't think I can make it because I'm in a musical. Hindi kami aabot.
Okay.
But thank you. Ganun. Tapos nag-close kami. Nag-close yung play namin on a Sunday. Lagi naman, di ba? On a Sunday. Tapos gabi na. Tapos galing ka CCP. Dahil mandala. Pagod na pagod ka kasi musical yun. At ilang linggo mo siyang pinagagawa. And then you get a text na they're waiting for you sa audition. So ko yung talagang, ano ba? Di ba sabi ko ayoko? May ganun talaga ako na, ano ba to? Pero sabi ko na lang, okay, sandali. Tatawid muna ako sa Starbucks. Mag-iyosin muna ako. Magkakape muna ako. Magpapahinga muna ako. Okay? Saka ako sasagot dito sa taong to. Kasi pagod na pagod ako eh. Alam mo yun?
Mm-hmm.
At sa lahat ng ayoko, yung nagre-reply sa text, nag-buisit ako.
Mm-hmm.
So kakalmayin ko muna yung sarili ko, diba? So nag-iyosi ako. Andun pa rin siya. Sabi niya, they're waiting for you, Kemer. Sabi ko, sige na nga. Punta na nga ako, kahit uwi na ako. Kahit marami akong dala, okay? Ganyan. Punta ako. Pagdating ko, ako na lang yung nandun na actress. Ganyan. And, let's just say, na a year later, after this audition, nag-shoot na ako sa Singapore. And this film was Iloilo. So isipin mo na lang I almost did not go to that audition. I almost didn't go dahil asar na asar ako at pagod na pagod ako at inis na inis ako sa buhay ko at that time. Alam mo yun. And then anyway, a year later nga, I'm working on that film. And then a year later, it gets into Cannes and wins the Camera d'Or. And that's really when it all started. Kasi also at the time, I was doing Norte. That's another accident, by the way. I suddenly found myself in a Love Diaz film. And I had no idea who Love Diaz was.
Bakit ka ganyan, Angeli?
Kulang na siya yung long hair na.
Bakit ka ganyan?
Sabi ko lang, alam. And then, ayun na nga, I found myself in a Love Diaz film na biglang, it's in Venice. You know, yung bigla ako nagkaroon ng awareness ng mga film festivals. Venice, okay. And then I did another Love Diaz film, also made it into Venice. Okay. And then third Love Diaz film ko, I was like, nakapasok sa Cannes. Ayun na. Tapos yung Iloilo, Cannes. Iloilo and Norte got into Cannes in the same year. So that was crazy. Because apparently that hasn't happened to anyone yet. So that was crazy. And tapos nanalo pa ng Camera d'Or yung isa. So, natural, pag uwi ko sa independent film circuit, everyone was talking about it, you know. I didn't think na ikakasikat ko siya ng bongga. Ang akin lang, wow, nakapunta ako ng Cannes. Alam mo yun, yung tunayin eh, di ba? Pangarap to eh. Grabe. Alam mo yun, first time to eh. Tapos dalawang pelikula agad. Yung parang iba rin, di ba? Yung parang, wow, Lord, this is amazing. So, yeah, so it kind of started there. I think if I'm going to just go back a bit, na parang if I am going to try to answer yung question mo na how I got here,
Mm.
I think it's because I have this attitude na every I accept everything na nangyayari siya for a reason. Whatever reason it is, I don't have to understand what it is right now. I'll figure it out later. I'll cross the bridge when I get there. It's a
Mm.
process. Everything is a process. Maybe this is something I need to do now. So I'm not afraid of that. Of course, not everything that happened is something I am proud of. But
Yes. Oh no.
I have, I really have no regrets. I mean, I wouldn't be the person I am now if it weren't for all of that, the good and the bad. And besides, perfection isn't really interesting.
So now, so fast forward, and we're here right now. You're in the position at your point in your life that you stage workshops online, and people take you so seriously that they help you out, and people are coming to get into your sessions. Nandun ka na, you have enough of a reputation that you are picked up for good projects. You have enough of a reputation that people take you seriously
Right.
when you stage projects like this workshop series of yours. I don't think,
Mm-hmm.
going back lang dun sa sinabi mo, if you think that if people are trying to emulate you or looking up to you and want to get inspiration from you, what would you tell, what advice would you give these kinds of people?
You have to be completely and utterly honest with yourself. Being honest with yourself is the first thing you need to do, no matter what your profession is, I would say. Because you have to find out your why. The why is the most important question you could ask yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Kasi parang, di ba, when we're kids, they ask you, what do you want to be when you grow up? They never ask you why,
Mm-hmm.
di ba? I think you have to ask yourself that. Why do you even want to do what you want to do?
Mm-hmm.
Diba? And it has to be really honest. And what I tell my students is, you keep asking why until one answer. You know, na parang, why do you want to be an actress? Because I like acting. Why? Why do you like acting? You get me?
Yes.
Hanggat sa marating mo ng core, kapag wala ng question to be asked, that's it. That's the answer you're looking for. That's the most honest answer ever. Kasi maybe it's about becoming a good mother. You
Mm-hmm.
know, maybe because sometimes that's what I think. Now maybe I had to become the person I am now because maybe my son is going to be something someday, and he needs me to be this kind of mother. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Maybe it's not about me. You know what I mean?
Yes. I do.
Kasi yun yung belief ko na, di ba, I started out na, yun na nga, just work with the people who want to work with you. Um, everything happens for a reason. You may not understand, blah, 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 just etc. But now I'm also, I mean, dumagdag na sa part na, um, yung happiness mo, your personal happiness is actually important if you want to secure the happiness of your child.
Mm-hmm. That's a nice way of looking at it. Okay. Anyway, and with that, thank you very much for sitting in with us and doing this interview, Angela. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for this, B.
Thank you very much for coming to the show and entertaining us, Angeli. Your story was something fantastic to listen to. Okay, plugging time. Please follow Wonder Manila's social media accounts right now. Okay. Blender Media is our technical partner for Manila Storytellers, and without their expertise, this show would not be possible. Please follow their social accounts right now. Okay. All right. And with that, this has been B. Kanapi, and this has been Manila Storytellers. Good night.